Bobby, it's 10 o'clock.
Time to start a meeting.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Glad to have all this group of citizens here today. This is the January meeting of the Cannon County Board of Commissioners. And the first thing we're going to do is going to have a prayer, and then we're going to have Tony. I'm going to lead the prayer, and Tony Neal is going to lead us all in the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's all stand. Let's all pray. Let's all pray together. Our gracious Father in heaven, we're so thankful for the blessings that we have to enjoy, especially the blessings, Heavenly Father, of living in this free country, whether we can choose our leaders, we can have a part in our representation. We pray that you would be with the leaders in Washington, the leaders in Nashville. We pray that you would be with this Board of Commissioners here today. Help us always look to your word for guidance as we make decisions. Help us to make righteous decisions and decisions that will be beneficial for the generations that follow us. We're thankful, Heavenly Father, especially for those men and women who are risking their lives on the police forces and the armed services, even in foreign fields, to bring the same freedoms that we have to others. We're thankful for them. We pray that you'd be with their families. We pray that you'd forgive us of our sins. In the end, may we so have lived that heaven can be our home. This prayer I make in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Bobby, call the roll. Present. Here.
Jimmy Lemon,
Here.
Jim Bush,
Here.
Kevin George,
Here.
Son Higgins, Tony Neal,
Here.
Jim Jones,
Here.
Chuck Hope,
Here.
8 present, 2 absent.
All right. Receive the minutes, summary of the last meeting in your packet. I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
I make a motion.
No, Jim did. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Russell second. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. And next we have number 5, the report of the county officials. You received many of them in your packet. And one of them, the ambulance service, you probably received it by mail. Did everybody receive the ambulance service report by mail? I did. You did?
Yeah, I got it.
Did you get it by hand?
No.
Okay. And the next thing, we need to add in, after number 4, number 5, the county officials, we've got a list of notaries. So, Bobby, would you read the list of notaries?
Peggy Miller, William H. Bryson, Govinda Mankey, Sandra H. Walker, Kathy L. Jordan, Kyle Williams, Peggy Sue Ingham, Joyce Tate.
All right. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
Kevin made a motion, Jim seconded it to approve them. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. We're going to move something from our last meeting up to this section right in here between the reports of the county officials and the budget amendments. And that is the discussion that we had about a pole that fell in the ball field down here at the, what I call the old fairgrounds. And I'm going to, at this time, recognize the county executive. He's got a report to make back to us about the inspectors and those things that he found out that we asked him to do. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Mark. If you'll remember, last commission meeting, you asked me to have the poles inspected and also the ones at the football field. And I got the same inspector that Middle Tennessee Electric uses to inspect their poles. And he found that there were 9 poles that needed to be replaced. 8 light poles, or 8 poles with lights on them, and 1 pole with a scoreboard on it at the fairgrounds, or the ball fields. We call all that fairgrounds. We even had the ones inspected up behind the REACH program there in that open field. We had the ones inspected down at the horse arena. None of them were bad, but the big field, I call it, we used to call it the Babe Ruth field. I think it's high school boys field now. It has 3 bad poles. The Little League, straight across from it, the oldest field there has, of course, the one that broke, and then 1 other pole that needs to be replaced, and that's the one that has the scoreboard on it. And then there's 4 bad poles on, I don't know what they call this field, but it's the big field in the back there to your left. So most of them are the 2 fields on the left, the high school field, and I think that's girls softball, but I won't say for sure. But we marked them all, and then it was recommended we replace these 9 poles, and 8 of them have crossbars on it, and we replaced the crossbars as well. So I contacted S&W Contractors. Excuse me, I've got allergies this morning. I may have to pause a minute, but we contacted S&W Contractors, and that's who does some of the work for Middle Tennessee Electric, and I think all the work for the city of Woodville. And they came Wednesday and looked at them and estimated the cost and did all that. Of course, I told them how important it was that we get the work done as quickly as possible, because a month ago when we were talking, I had on my mind, I'm assuming you did too, that we were looking at April and May. You know, I just had April would be the start, but I understand the high school team starts 1st of March. I forget the exact date, but they start practicing. Now, there's been a lot of discussion on this, and a lot of things have been said that that turned out not to be true. We can practice and play on these fields when one pole was, I was told, had to be replaced before anybody uses the field. And if the ones that's familiar with the fields, that's the big pole right behind the concession stand, which really, really bad shape. And the others need to be replaced, but we can use the field now as we replace them. So S&W assured me they would, if you approve it today, they will order I'm supposed to call them immediately after the meeting, and they will order the poles, and they assured me the 1 pole would be up in time, but they're going to try to have all 9 of them. And the total cost to replace the poles and the crossbars is $16,800. Now, what I would like to recommend, if you think about it, the first field built there, I think, was built around 1975. The second field was the one the high school baseball team uses. And it was built 5 or 6 years after that. So it was built, and I'm guessing around 80, 81, 82, right in there. I understand there's about 500 kids per year uses these fields. So that's a lot of children that have gotten use out of these fields over the years. Cannon County didn't even build the first field. The first one was built through a state grant, and several of us, I just happened to be, I'm old enough that I happened to be coaching then. We borrowed the money and signed the note ourselves. And we matched that grant and paid the note back through concession stand profits. So Cannon County technically hasn't spent any money on those fields in 30, 35 years. But we have had thousands and thousands of children go through that, boys and girls, and get the use of those fields. Personally, and this is just my personal opinion, $16,800 is a small price to pay if you go back and look at it over a 30 or 35 year period that we haven't spent any money. And what I would like to recommend, there's 2 ways you can do it. If you decide to replace these poles, and I will have them here the second I can get them here. And they assured me the 1 pole would be, hopefully all 9 will be replaced. They assured me the one would be, so the high school could start practicing. But if you pass this today, there's two ways of doing it. You can either take it out of county general fund balance, or you can borrow $16,800 and pay it back in a year out of debt service, which is where most of the money is. And you can't pay it directly out of debt service. The state won't allow you to do that. But you can pay it off in a year. My recommendation would be borrow $16,800, have the poles replaced, and then pay it back in a year, and pay it back out of debt service in a year. Is there any questions?
Yeah, now, when this first come up, we were talking about the poles, the lights, and the wiring. The lights and the wiring is as old as the poles are. Now, we can go with up-to-date lighting and the wiring, and we don't have to have as many poles to light the fields than we do now, and it'd be more energy efficient towards, as far as the county is concerned. Secondly, did you ever contact these people about grant money?
I did.
Who did you talk to?
The grant writers and our engineer. The grant that you gave me that day was an energy efficiency grant. That's available every year. That's pretty well, those grants are for buildings usually, because that's where your high energy consumption is in buildings, such as the jail or the courthouse or any county building like that. This won't, I was told we had very, very little chance of getting this funded if we applied for a grant. If we did, and were lucky enough to get it funded, it would be early summer before we would even know whether it was funded or not. That kills your whole baseball season.
Well, that is not what I'm talking about, Michael. I mean, you know, I know that the grant process, it takes a while. But what I was asking, was the grant applied for?
No,
Why not?
because we can't get it done in time for the baseball season.
No, that,
It can still be applied for, but I'm trying to tell you, our grant writer and our engineer says you're not gonna be funded. You've got about a 30% chance of being funded, so we won't know. If we applied a month ago, we still wouldn't know until early summer, and then you gotta get the work done.
well, yeah, but we don't know that unless we apply for it. The deadline on the grants are the 31st of January.
The grant number you gave me, we looked it up, it's an energy efficiency grant. Keep in mind, these lights are only used 2 or 3 months out of the year. There's no way of getting.
You're right.
Do what?
Take breaks on that too, you're right.
But still, there's not enough energy. There's not
If you
enough
need to talk,
energy.
we will, if you need to talk, we
Y'all
will
just hold off back
address
there
you.
while we're
My point
discussing.
is, you have to show in the grant to where there would be enough energy savings to pay for the work. There's no way of doing that.
Okay, now, given what you said there, also, this grant can be applied for cooling units, heating units, roofs, and so on, as far as energy efficient. So, you know, even if it was not available, or the time frame was not available for this, it could still save us money as far as the county.
And we plan maybe to use that grant. I'm not saying we want to apply for something from that grant, but why would you, that won't help us here. That's my point. We're gonna lose our baseball season if we go the grant route.
We're not gonna lose nothing. The only thing I'm asking for is, why was not the grant applied for? This started Halloween night when the first pole was broke. And the next meeting we had after this, when this was brought up, okay, which would have been November. Now we're looking at January. So from November to January, there's no paperwork being done.
That's because it's not time to fill the grant. It wasn't time at that time to fill the grant. And you're not going to get this. an energy efficiency grant approved for this type of work. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It would have been a waste of time, and we would have lost you baseball season.
I mean, how many poles are there total down there?
30. 42 or 3, counting the horse arena,
Up there on all of it, everything.
everything. I don't know baseball,
Baseball
If we
is
fix
30.
And the inspectors said how many, 9?
9,
Yeah.
and they're all around the baseball.
I heard all that.
But
What I'm asking is, if we fix these 9, are we gonna turn around here in 2 or 3 years and have to fix 10 or 15 more, and turn around 2 or 3 years later and have to fix 10?
What I would do, this is a suggestion, I would fix these 9. And then have the inspector come back every 2 years and then replace 1 year.
As you go?
Do preventive maintenance as we go, and you won't be facing this 10 years down the road. You wait 10 years and go back in there, you'd probably be doing 9 more. But what I would do,
My thought was to fix them all and be done with it.
well, they're all not bad. And it's-
Are the lights and everything still good on everything?
Yes,
Wire?
they
No.
told me the lights and wiring was fine. Now, you can get more up-to-date lights and wiring, but it's gonna cost an arm and a leg.
Well,
But the lights, I asked him, he said there's nothing wrong with the lights.
now, we're gonna back up to the grants, okay?
You can't get the grant, Jim,
Hold on.
before they need it.
Well, I'm gonna give this as a for instance. The energy conserving grant, okay? Miss Kathy Galpa, GLAPA, she's ahead of this, okay? Knoxville Utility Board, they got roof for their facilities off this same grant, okay? Hardin County got their fairgrounds, their lighting and everything repaired off this grant. Ashland City had lighting retrofits over this same grant. The city of Oak Ridge had lighting retrofits over this same grant. Cleveland, Tennessee, the city and the county center, they have got money from this grant. Now, I don't understand with these other counties that's had an option to get their money from this grant. And me talking with Kathy about this, that leads me to kind of wonder, why are we left out of this whole mix here? They got their money. Why didn't we get our, why didn't we apply and get some of this same money?
Is this lady over the energy efficiency grants?
Yeah, and here's her phone number if you want to talk to her.
Well, I don't
Lighting retrofits are buildings.
I don't have any doubt that they get them, but we do get some grants in the county every single year.
I understand that, but what I am saying, this clean energy conservative lighting grant, it takes in air conditioning, insulation, roofs, lighting. Okay? Now, I understand what we're looking at right now, but we can benefit from the same grant whether or not that we get any money from to do anything now.
Well,
Let's
we
deal
do
with
it.
the ball field and then we'll deal with that grant.
If we knew that we had an air conditioner that was getting old and ready to go out, we might apply for that and then do some other upgrading, but the poles themselves,
I don't
poles
know, but you
themselves,
can't get it
the 9 poles need
in
to
time
be
to fix the ball
replaced.
field.
You're not
we not-
We would utilize this grant, but
This
we,
should have been applied for in November.
no, it was
Once
too
you-
early to apply for it in November, and you
once
have
you
to apply,
vote to pay for it out of debt
grants
service, you
where
can't-
they're most
grant
likely to
money
be
to cover it.
funded. This will be utilized, but it'll be
grant
in
has to be done
an
up
area
front.
that we've got a better chance of being
That's what I'm saying.
funded.
Okay.
It'd take us 6
But,
months
you're
to
never
do this
gonna,
with the grant.
if you put all new lights, you're never gonna save the money and energy compared to the lights we have now to pay for this grant, so it's not gonna be funded. So that, I mean, really, you're taking two issues and confusing them. Today, we're dealing with 9 poles and getting it done as quickly as
The
possible.
9
Kevin?
poles need to be replaced.
I'll make a motion, we approve the $16,800 for the poles.
Well, what about the
I have
what about
I have
the
a
other one?
question.
Here's
I have a
another
question.
Just a minute, now let Chuck talk.
When this first came up, the way I understood it, we was gonna have 40-plus poles that we was gonna have to come in there and replace. But since then, you've came along, now you've dropped it down to 9.
No, I didn't, the inspector.
Well, someone's dropped it down to 9. All right, during that inspection, some of those poles belong to Middle Tennessee Electric.
Right. That was 42 or 3 that belonged to us. There's 5 or 6
Right.
belong to
Well,
me.
nobody said they all need
Now,
replacing.
during that inspection, I'm sure that he not only inspected our poles, he inspected Middle Tennessee Electric also.
They
So,
inspect
do they have any poles down there that need to be replaced?
No.
On-
No.
Only ours?
No.
Only
No.
the county poles are the ones that need to be
Only
replaced?
ours at the ball fields. Now, there's 4 at the football field that he said need to be. Now, I can't say this for sure. Randy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's 4 poles at the ball field. And he said all 4 of them need to be replaced, but that's not an issue y'all need to be addressing. That's something that the school board will have to address, but I was asked to have those inspected as well, and they said all 4 of them need to be replaced.
The Cab Telephone and Middle Tennessee Electric both have their poles on a schedule. They're inspected on a certain
think that's
schedule.
what
When
we
they
should
need
do.
replaced, then they replace them.
And I think we should do that.
We should do
every
that.
2 or 3
Let's
years,
address,
have them.
we got a motion on the floor
Now,
now.
wait a minute. Hold on. We just got one bid.
Hang on just a minute.
We just got one
In
bid.
the case of an emergency, you don't have to have but one bid.
If you bid it, it's gonna give you.
And I think these people will agree that this is an emergency.
All right, now wait a minute, let's back up again. This has been going on since November. Yes, it's an emergency, but why wouldn't the bids and why wouldn't this looked at when we knew we had a problem? Now you're saying it's an emergency, we're going with one contractor and one contractor alone. How do we know that 2 other contractors be cheaper than 16.8? This is taxpayers' money we're talking
The
about.
city, it's the same contract the city will agree with.
The
It
reason-
doesn't make no
The
difference.
reason we're just now dealing with is because you and the commission told me a month ago to get these figures together and
right.
report back today. If you'd have told me in October to do it in November, I'd have had it in November. So we're on the same schedule y'all set for this to be done. Now, S&W contractors are there's only 2 or 3, and they're the main ones in this area. I don't know them from Adam. I don't even know where they're located. All I know, the city of Woodbury uses them, and Middle Tennessee Electric uses them. Now,
This is not good. Kevin, you got a motion?
I sure do.
I second it.
All right, we got a motion and a second to replace 9 poles by S&W contractors with them. And they're gonna get the worst one first, right?
to be
Now,
safe so the high school can start, right?
first of all, I want, is any more discussion among the commissioners? Does anybody that's here about the ball fields want to say something before we vote on whether to, replace 9 of them? Hold your hand up. I'll-
We got a pole, the very first pole is failed, the one that's on the ground right now.
Yes, sir.
That one's also the pole that has all the junction boxes for field. Field 1 is a high school field. Field 2 is the field with the pole failed.
Right.
Field 3 is the one that the majors and minors uses all the way in the back. Field 4 is the big field you're talking about, that's the girls softball field. All right? I coach baseball over there. I've been coaching it since my kid's been 4 years old, he's right here. Okay? The pole that's on the ground right now, that's the one that had all the power pole connections on it. If that pole don't get, replaced, and that one by that one that's both behind the concession stand,
Yes,
right?
sir.
You
Yes,
might
sir.
as well write it off,
Well,
because you can't play no games on them fields right there, because that
I'm
would
glad
be
you-
bad.
I'm glad you brought that up, because this price includes, I don't know what I'm talking about, but it includes switching the.
Switching the poles over to the other box.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
used S&W 4 times in Russell County, they're the cheapest you're gonna find a big off.
Well, if it's a case of an emergency or something, we can bypass the bidding procedure. S&W has the best reputation I've found. I've checked on the, well, I won't say the best reputation, let me check. I don't want to knock it, but I'm just saying they do most of the work around here. And that price includes taking the boxes and I know what you're saying, that pole will be easy because the hard one is the one that I'm talking about at the high school field because it's right against the building. Now, but you're right, you're 100% right.
I got one more thing. And what you were saying about that grant, on that grant, if you don't specify what your grant's for, right? They'll bypass you altogether. You have to specify in word, this grant is used for, right?
That's right.
Like we did for the art center over
That's
here.
right.
Right? You have to
Next,
specify
this
in word.
gentleman right here wants to say
They said the
something.
wiring, they said the wiring's good on it.
That's what
It
S and
is open wire nuts, you know, in the weather, is that,
W, I asked them about the lighting and wiring, they thought we'd be fine with the lighting and wiring. That was the S&W and the inspector. He said the only other thing would be, you know, the crossbars, he wants them replaced. Every pole we replace, he wants new crossbars.
well, the wiring from the lights, they're coming out and wire nutted to
If it's
the power
bad,
supply in the weather, and that's not.
if it's bad,
good.
All of your lines are in the weather. Your big
Right, but
lines.
the wiring should be in a junction box.
They work with it all the time.
It should be floating out, getting around.
we'll have that, I'll have S&W, if this goes through, I'll have the contractor look at the wiring, and if it needs replacing, we'll do whatever needs. We just want it safe, because that's a giant liability.
Anybody, next one, go ahead.
I work for City Electric Supply in Murfreesboro. I've worked on those poles many, many times with bucket truck. Those wiring, you know, every one of those poles need to be repaired. You have live wires inside the conduits that have exposed to the conduits. They need to be looked at before anything else goes on.
Do you think the S&W, you think S&W will do that?
They may come out and give you an estimate on it. That's a good reputation. I deal with them, they're good guys. But you can't tell me they looked at every pole. I've been up on every one of those poles except for that high school field. And I have worked on them. And they are disastrous. They're run with SO cord, SJ cord, they're rotten. The jacketing falls off in your hand. That's your liability. You wonder why every time you turn around, somebody has to go out there and work on the pole, donate their time. It's because you got faulty wiring out there. I saved the city a couple $1,000s a couple of years ago repairing a breaker that Middle Tennessee Electric come out and helped me pull the jacks on to save the county money. There's issues out there that all that wiring needs to be looked at. You do have poles out there that don't need to be replaced, but you got light fixtures out there that are bad. I've got pricing here for new poles. I've got pricing here for concrete poles. I've got pricing for cross arms. I've been working on this for 2 months. S&W has
Sir, can you
Yeah.
let us see it right now, please?
My company's authorized, and whatever y'all need, we'll pass it through at our cost to help the county out.
Have you got copies?
You can have what I got. I got copies at home.
There's a manufacturer's
Michael,
distress.
Can you
There's
get it
5
in
different
writing?
types of poles that you gotta put up.
S&W.
There's 5 different kind of
contractors
classifications.
Would do
There's light
exactly
fixture
what they
cut
would do.
sheets. There's everything
No
you need
more,
right
no
there.
less.
A new fixture, you know, you got 4 that's dropped. How many of those are good? Are they damaged?
The first thing we need to do though is replace poles, correct?
Correct. And check the wiring on the poles that are not gonna be touched.
let's change the poles and then have somebody inspect the wiring in the light.
You got S&W out there with a bucket truck gonna be driving all over our fields. Why don't you let them check them while they're there?
Hey, I'm all for it.
If you're gonna spend $2,000 more, let them fix it and fix it right.
Well, of course, that's their.
Make the decision and
I'll
vote
agree, I'll
on it.
agree with you. While we're at it, well.
I mean, if you're gonna tear up the field once, you might as well just tear it up once instead of tearing it up 2 or 3 times.
I'll agree with you.
Thank you.
I've got an observation here. If down the road we apply for it and get this energy grant for lighting over there, it's my understanding that will reduce the amount of lighting that's required, thereby reducing the number of poles that's required, thereby reducing the number of poles that have to be replaced in the future. They just can be eliminated.
They start practice on February the 10th.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about
February
immediately.
the 10th.
Well, we need to get the
Not
poles
March
up
the
now.
10th or May the 10th,
I've got
February
a
the
motion
10th.
and any more discussion about, Commissioner, got one more man with his hand, later.
Can I just say that at the November meeting, I brought up the whole fact with the lighting then and explained to you guys that the wiring inside the lighting was bad. Now, I don't know what S&W did or looked at, but I brought this up and explained it to you guys that it needed to be replaced and addressed. Now, probably 3 or 4 years ago, we spent a little over $2,000 reworking some of that wiring. It's a
It still ought to be
Band-Aid.
good then.
It's a Band-Aid. And no, it's not. It was all used up on the girls' softball field. Some of those lights still don't work. We have one whole pole that's bad, that does not work, period. Now, I was told that it's just a darn miracle that somebody hasn't been electrocuted because the wiring is exposed. I'm not an electrician, but I'm passing it along, and I did that in November. Now, we're in January, we're still debating it.
We're trying to we got a motion on the floor now to do something, and then we need to get on an inspection schedule, schedule of both poles and wiring. That's my estimation, but first things are first. We gotta get the poles.
Kevin,
Let me say this, the
your motion
poles
was
and
just the poles, is that correct?
the poles and the lighting and
See,
wiring is
they're
kind of
gonna-
two different
when they
things.
put the
What we
poles
need to
up
do
and
is
they-
get the poles
and they
done,
switch everything
and
out,
then-
they're not
and
gonna
I don't
switch it
know
out
if
and
they
leave the
will or
wiring
not,
like
but
it is.
I'd like to ask Middle
Those
Tennessee
9 poles
Electric
will be
to
right
come
when
and
they're done with
inspect
it.
the lights and wiring.
talking about
They may
wiring
tell
and
us we need to replace all the lights
Those
and
poles will
wiring.
be
If they do,
fine.
we'll address
They'll
that
make sure
later.
those poles are right.
Kevin, do you want to amend your motion to add anything to what the gentleman said about looking, while they're there, looking at the other light poles that they don't replace?
Do you think S&W is gonna put those 9 poles in and then just throw the scrap back on it that's up there now? Or are they gonna make sure
I'm not saying
that
that.
those 9 will be safe when they get done?
I'm saying, you replace the 9 poles. They're gonna be responsible to fix that. They're gonna do it 100% the way they're supposed to. But how many poles are out there? Okay, now you subtract the 9 poles from that there. How many of those poles have got faulty wiring?
All of them.
Every time you turn around, you've got kids out there, not coaches, you got kids turning on the lights. You don't have an adult turning them on, so now you got a liability of a kid turning on a light switch.
So is
So,
So
I'm
spend the
getting,
money,
I'm
spend the money and
guessing,
have it fixed.
I'm guessing,
What do you
so
do?
what you're saying, if we replace
Prove
9
20
poles, the
grand,
wiring
tell
will
them I
be
can
good
tell
on
them
those
to fix it.
Well,
poles.
it should be, yeah, they're not gonna put.
All right, there's
stuff
about
back there.
9 more,
I don't
so
think
I
so
can
either.
have them inspected.
They should be, yeah,
Do
while
this.
they're there, fix the
All
poles,
right.
you know.
Do-
Does the
Why
bill
don't-
clarify just replacing the poles and cross arms, or does it also clarify the inspection of the electrical too?
The 9 were
The
replaced.
9 poles that we're talking about,
Right,
They-
but here- but
they'll
the
be
bid
right
that
when they
has
get
to go
done.
together,
those 9 will be right.
But I know, but the bid, Mike, does it clarify just replacing poles and cross arms? Does it say,
Yes.
Lighting too.
Well, he said the lighting was fine, but now the wiring, he'll replace if it needs it.
so it sounds like S&W is just replacing the pole and the cross arms, and that's it?
That's pretty well
As
it.
far as electrical is.
Aren't they gonna tighten
No,
up
the
the
wiring,
cross arms
if
on
the
some
wiring
other
needs
poles?
fixing, they fix
Isn't
the
that-
wiring too.
Yeah.
You won't get new lights,
Is
but
that said in the bid?
S&W, in
what
the
he said.
bid, is it in the bid that they're gonna tighten the cross arms
No, not
on?
in this, but let me go back.
Can you
Good
show
question.
them the bid as far as clarifying?
When
what it
these 9
says?
are done, they'll be right. You got about, I'm guessing, 8 or 9 or 10 more. If y'all tell me to, I'll have them inspect the wiring and the lights on all of them while they're there, or get Middle Tennessee or somebody. The 1680, he called me yesterday, is to replace the 9 with new crossbars and any wiring that needs to be replaced on those 9 only. Now, he said it may come in less than that. He padded it a little in case he hits rock. He says, if we dig and don't hit rock, I can save you maybe. He said, I really wasn't gonna say that because if he hits rock, then people, but he told me, he said, if we don't hit rock, we'll knock some off that price. So 1680 for those 9 poles is the top dollar,
And the wiring.
if it's bad,
they're not gonna put new poles, put those old lights on those new poles without making sure the wiring is right.
Well,
They can't.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I've always been told if it ain't on paper, it's never happened.
why I
That's
said
the reason,
clarifying the
Mr.
bid.
Jim, I would
In
like
my
to
8
see them
years.
see the contract, see what they're gonna write up, anything and everything that they're going to do. So if anything in the future goes bad, then we can go back and look at the paperwork to find out, if they did it or
That's what
not.
I'm saying.
And that's what I'm
If it's
asking
not
for.
if it's not in black and white, it never happened. You go to divorce court and you pull that, you'll see what I'm
This
talking
Yes,
and
sir, you and
that
I on the
court
same
is
page. That's what I'm asking
somebody
for.
that
Mark,
they
That's what I'm
know.
asking for.
I've been sitting at this table for 7.5 years. I've never had 150 people want one thing and have so many people try to stop us from doing it.
We got a motion on the floor.
Now, we got a motion on the floor.
And a second. We got a motion and a second on the floor. Bobby, call the roll.
Mark Martin,
Yes.
Russell Lee,
Yes.
Jimmy Mingus.
Yes.
Jim Bush.
Yes.
Kevin George.
Yes.
Tony Neal,
Yes.
Jim Jones,
Yes.
Chuck Hope,
Yes.
motion carried.
Fix the ball field.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank y'all.
Next on our agenda, budget amendments for county general. Turn in your packet. The first one is from the sheriff's department. You also have your summary of your financial statements in there. Thank you all you citizens that came about the ball fields. You're welcome to stay and listen to this other if you want to.
It won't be near as exciting.
Motion to recess?
No. They just instantly get it done.
They'll be out in a minute.
It don't matter. You take the budget, you're what pays for everything.
I wish we could have that many people at every meeting. If you could get that many people excited about the boring stuff, as they are doing about the ball field, we'd have a real county government.
I think we got one superseded the other one here, don't we?
Yeah.
Come in, they
What's wrong, man?
Because everybody, somebody's been going around for the flies, so we wouldn't go kick them.
This is the sheriff, from what I
It's the same.
I ain't never.
That's why.
Huh?
Ain't no problem.
I
I know it. It's crazy.
I know, like the phone, everything's
That's exactly why.
I think it worked.
I'm gonna buy you an ice cream cone. Oh, no. Do you want an ice cream cone?
That's everything.
Yeah, I want an ice cream cone. You want me to buy it? No.
Yeah, I've got a copy of my,
We're gonna fix the lighting all along.
Oh, yeah.
that's my copy of that.
Give him one of your cards. You like one of your cards.
When we leave here, I go downstairs.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I know. I do that like that.
All right, y'all ready to do the budget amendments?
So, I mean,
Gentlemen,
All right, we're back on the budget amendments, number 6 on our agenda. County General, the first one is the Sheriff's Department. It's the maintenance and repair on vehicles, $917 to spend the remainder of a loan. You want to vote on these separately, I assume? Okay. Anybody approve the Sheriff's Department?
I approve it. I'll make a motion.
Here, second.
I'll second.
Russell Reed, second. All in, do you want to vote for voice vote?
Yeah, be fine.
All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Second one is under miscellaneous. This is from the Jim Cummins Memorial Fund, contributions and other charges. Any questions about it? That's where Mr. Jim Cummins left his estate, some of it stays with the county. Any questions? Hear a motion to approve it?
I'll make a motion. I'll say.
Russell and Jim again. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And then regular capital outlay, fund balance, and other capital outlay to spend the remainder of that on $560. Do I hear a motion?
motion passes.
Jimmy Mangle made a motion. Who seconds? Kevin George seconded. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Now, if you look on the back of this, Diane has got every single one of these, the explanation of it on the back. Okay? Next is the school board budget amendments. You got them today. They went in your packet, resolution number 1, 2, and 3. 1 is contributions to increase it by $4,000 and spend it on instruction equipment. Number 2 is a state grant, the arts ticket subsidy grant that they received. The Auburn School received it. They didn't know you can't put it in your budget because you don't know you're gonna get it yet. And then number 3 is to donate the funds left from the Safe Schools grant to purchase security cameras, 2611. Is it all right to vote on all 3 of these at one time?
I think so, yeah. Make a motion.
You got any comment? Ms. Parker, you got any comments? I explained them pretty good, didn't I? Okay. Do I have
Make a motion.
Jim made a motion, Chuck Holt seconded. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And when we do a voice vote, Bobby, you just mark down, unless somebody opposes, you mark down that everybody voted for it. Cynthia. Okay. And I don't wanna rush too much either. So we got the number 6, number 7, and number 8. Due to the untimely death of Jerry Pelham on the road commission. Since it's enough time to the election, we have to appoint a Zone 1 road commissioner. Now,
I'd like to say something
all right,
before we
all right,
start.
well, you go ahead. You want about the plaque?
Well, that and other things. Jerry Pelham, he was born and raised in this county. He started out with hardly anything. He grew his business. He loved his community. Jerry Pelham was an asset to this community. He helped the county in more ways than people will ever know. He done a lot behind the scenes that nobody will never know. He's donated his time, he's donated money, he's donated equipment to help this county. And with saying that, I think the commissioners in the county ought to have a plaque in his honor for his family, and to show our appreciation how much he has done for this county. Now, second thing, there's 2 gentlemen here that are applying for this position. One is Mr. Edward Sisson. One is Mr. Bill Sparkman. Edward, I've known him all my life. He's been a friend of the family for years, which we are a little family to start with. Bill Sparkman, he's also a friend of mine, a good man, and he's been a friend of the family for years. These 2 gentlemen that I know personally, either one will do a good job for this county. Both are not honorable men. Honorable men. And with me saying that, I'm going to have to abstain from voting or nominating either one of these gentlemen because of the close ties that I have with both men. And another thing, I hold regard of the highest for both of them. And I would do a dishonor for either one if I tried to pick which one was better man than the other.
All right. Now, the ones that contacted me that said that they wanted to be considered, I'm going to read them in alphabetical order. Bill Asbury from the Porterfield community, Ed Sissom here in Woodbury, and Bill Sparkman out on off Highway 53 on Shangri-La Lane. And I don't think Bill Asbury is here, is he? He's in the hospital.
Bill called me last night. He was at the emergency room with heart trouble.
Okay.
But he asked me to nominate him.
Okay, well, we'll get to the nominations in just a minute. Now, and I did them in alphabetical order since Bill is not here. I'm going to let Ed Sissom, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I'd like to address y'all and tell you I'm interested in taking Mr. Pelham's place. Like Mr. Bush, I honor Mr. Pelham for what he's done. He's done a lot for the county, been a asset businessman that I think obviously made good decisions. One of the things that I have is I've been had a lot of experience in road work. I've done 35 years of railroad work, which is a lot of engineering and that type of stuff. We run trains on the same road bed, or on a road bed very similar that we run
cars and trucks out on the highways. So I've got a lot of experience in this area. I was road commissioner back in the early 80s with Mr. Hancock and Mike Gannon. So I'm asking you today to consider me. I appreciate, if you could, I appreciate it. If you can't, I understand. I totally understand. Any of y'all got any questions? Thank you.
All right, now Bill Sparkman.
Yeah, I appreciate the chance to serve the county if I can, and I probably don't have as much experience as Mr. Sism with road building. I have done some excavating work. I work on the county's cars, and it's unbelievable at the front end damage from the roads that we have. They're terrible, and I think if we pull together, we can make them better. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Is there anybody else that wants to be considered? I heard the rumor of a fourth one, but I never did. Well, I wasn't contacted by anybody else. Seeing none, the floor is open for nominations. Now, here's the way we're going to do this. You got to be nominated by somebody here on the commission. Any of us, even myself, can make a nomination. I can't make a motion, but I can make a nomination. But go ahead.
I nominate Bill Sparkman.
All right. Bill Sparkman has been nominated.
I'm nominating him.
Kevin George nominated.
And I nominate Bill Asbury.
All right. Bill Asbury has been nominated.
Who nominated him?
Jimmy Mingy. Anybody else? All right. I'll nominate Ed Sizzle. Nominations don't need a second. So we got 3 that have been nominated. Bill Asbury, again in alphabetical order. Bill Asbury, Ed Sizzle, Bill Sparkman. All right, now we're gonna call the roll, and everyone say who you're gonna vote for. This is the first time around. Go ahead, call the roll.
Mark Barker,
Ed Sizzle.
Russell Reed,
Mr. Sism.
Jimmy Mingus,
Bill Asbury.
Jim Bush.
I abstain.
Who's that?
He abstains.
Bill.
No, he passed.
He passed.
He passed.
Pass.
Okay, Kevin George,
Sparkman.
Sparkman. Tony Neal,
Ed Simmons.
Jim Jones,
Sparkman.
Sparkman. Okay. Chuck Holt.
Asbury.
Well, we don't have enough to elect nobody. Got to have
Everybody
6
voted.
votes.
All right. Now here's what we've got. We've got Ed Sizzle with 3, Bill Asbury with 2, and Bill Sparkman with 2. Now, according to Robert's Rules of Order, you would drop whoever the low one was and then vote on 2. Even if you had 5, you drop the low one, vote on 4. Drop the low one, vote on 3. There are 2 tied for the low one. First off, I'll ask, since Mr. Asbury is not here, but I will ask, does anybody want to take their name out of the voting? All right.
Or change.
Now I'm asking them, do they want to take out first before we? Now I'm going to ask, do any of you want to change your vote?
You can change mine to Ed.
Okay, you're changing yours to Ed Sizzle. Does anybody else want to change their vote? Well, we'll find out when I call the roll again, I guess. Do you think it would be, I want to stay with the rules of order here. We got 2, since you changed your vote then, that leaves Mr. Asbury as only having 1 vote. So he's the low man. Everybody got that? Now this time, we're going to vote again. We're going to vote for 2. It's between Ed Sizzle and Bill Sparkman. Everybody understand that? You think we're doing this in a fair way? Okay. Continue on. We're gonna call a roll this time. We only have two choices.
Okay.
Sism or Sparkman.
All right, Mark Barker,
Sism.
Russell Reed,
Mr. Scissor.
okay, Jimmy Nichols,
Says them.
Jim Bush,
Abstain.
he passed, okay, Kevin George,
Sparkman.
Tony Neal,
Mr. Simmons.
Jim Jones,
Sparkman.
Sparkman.
Chuck Holt,
Sparkman.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, still ain't got it.
All right, we got 4 for Sism and 3 for Sparkman now. We drop a low man again?
I don't
Or ask y'all if y'all, ask,
I think it'd be better off to ask somebody else.
that's what I'm saying. Does anybody want to change your vote? Give you a minute to think about it. All right, let's call the roll again. Got enough time to think about it. Same two candidates.
All right, Mark Barker,
Sism,
Russell Reed,
Mr. Scissor.
Jimmy Nichols,
Says them.
Jim Bush, he passes, Kevin George,
Sparkman.
Tony Neal,
Mr. Simmons.
Jim Jones,
In the interest of expediting this thing, I'll go with Mr. Sill.
Sizzle.
okay, Chuck Holt,
Sparkman.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, need one more vote.
need one more vote.
I'm nominated.
You can still change
I
your
wouldn't
vote.
change,
on
I
the
wouldn't
third
change my
vote.
vote for nothing.
Bill Sparkman might change his vote.
That'd be up to Bill.
We've got 5 for Sism now and 2 for Bill Sparkman. And I will say the same thing Jim said. Both of you are honorable men that have the utmost integrity. I think you'll do a good job, either one of you. It's going to come down to the vote of the people in August. But right now, it's just a vote of these 8 people that are right here.
You know, Mark, the one thing everybody needs to understand, that either one of them will do a fine job, but anybody that wants these positions ought to have the opportunity and somebody ought to nominate them so they can be voted on. And that's why sometimes it looks like it's really lopsided and there's only one guy nominated, but I think everybody ought to have a shot.
Mhm.
And
That's fine. We're down to 5 for Ed Sism and 2 for Bill Sparkman.
I change over to Ed.
Okay. That would leave it, that would give Ed the 6 that are necessary for him to be appointed as the filling out the remainder of Jerry Pelham's term. And I certainly appreciate Bill Sparkman. I even appreciate Mr. Asbury. Mr. Asbury is advanced in years, but he's a good man. He sometimes is here at our meetings, and he lives in my voting district. And I appreciate you. And I don't think any of us were voting against somebody else. We were just voting for somebody to do the job. And sometimes there's only one that you can vote for to do a job. All right. So let the record show that 6 voted for Ed Sism to appoint him for the unexpired term. Continuing on our agenda, you have a copy, number 9, and thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Number 9, the Agriculture Committee met on Monday, December the 16th, and we've got members whose terms have expired, and Bob Stetzel will be replaced. They voted to replace him with Jimmy Mingle, and Kevin George with Clint Higgins. And the motion was unanimous. There are 2 commissioners have to be on the Agriculture Committee. And there's the guidelines. You saw that in your packet there. The Agriculture Committee will have some work to do this time because Heath Noakes took a job in Warren County, and that left a position open. And the University of Tennessee has stated that they're going to fill that position sometime this year.
But that was also reflected in our budget committee too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Do I hear a motion to accept the Agriculture Committee's report and nomination?
I'll make a motion.
Here a second?
I'll second.
George. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. You got that, Cynthia?
Yes.
Okay. Next is other business. I want to make some announcements. The sheriff and the county executive and the jail administrator, Mr. Brown, and myself, all 4 went to Nashville to meet with the Tennessee Corrections Institute. No, yes, that's right. About the jail and to get the jail recertified. Did I tell this at the last meeting?
You did.
Okay. We're going to have a meeting with them. They wanted to meet back with us, and it's going to be next Tuesday, the 21st, at 5 p.m. here in the courthouse. And everyone is welcome to come to that, and they'll have some information too. They gave us some information while we were down there. We talked to some of the men down there. And then
5 o'clock, Mark.
5 o'clock. There's also going to be on the 23rd, that's Thursday of next week, a joint meeting of the City Council, the Industrial Development Board, and the IDB, and the County Commissioners here with a representative again from the Tennessee Department of Transportation. That will be next Thursday here in the courthouse at 5 p.m. Now, I won't be at that meeting. This will not be a commissioners meeting, so it doesn't matter whether I'm there or not. But I encourage you to come if you can. The meeting will be, since it's a joint meeting of all of these, the mayor of Woodbury and the county executive will be the ones that are sort of facilitating the meeting, and we'll have.
And the public is invited.
We'll have, the public is invited. It'll be in the paper. It's been in the paper, hasn't it? Or gonna be in, it's going to be in the paper.
It's going to be.
It's and there'll be time for comments, but the county executive and the mayor of Woodbury will be the ones that facilitate the comments of the individuals. So be present for that. We've already done Jerry Pellin plaque. And those are the announcements I wanted to make here under other business. Now, we've got some other things to attend to in other business. If I skip anything.
Mr. Chairman, could you add me under other business too?
Yes, ma'am, I can. In fact, I'll just let you go right now.
All right. Something that was overlooked, and I had mentioned it to Mike's office, but we just crossed paths, is that Bob Stetzel has served for quite a length of time on the 4-County Regional Solid Waste Planning Board. A mandate from 1991 said that we need to meet in an organized manner, and we have the authority to approve or disapprove any major changes that should occur in solid waste reduction. So this, with Bob gone now, we need to have that replaced, and I would like to have at least one commissioner, county commissioner, there. We've met for 20 years, so we don't meet very often because we've got things pretty well streamlined. But it may be 4 meetings a year, and it will be one time in Cannon, one in Warren, one time in Coffee, and one time in Rutherford. And we'll just go over what new things in waste reduction are available, and if something major like happened a few years ago, the expansion of the landfill, we were the last word on on whether or not that was in keeping with the plan that we have to update each year. So if this needs more time to gel, just know that I'm asking for it, and it's required by the state mandate to have these positions filled. If someone would like to volunteer and do that, that would be great. And if it takes to the next meeting, that would be great. Are you still meeting monthly in the new year?
Yes, we're still meeting monthly in the new year.
Mr. Chairman,
Mike, you
Billy
put-
Youngblood served on that forever. And he attended, I think, about all the meetings and did an outstanding job for years. And then Bob Stetzel was appointed and did a good job for, I don't know how long, but after Billy, right? He called Billy Youngblood.
And the city has, forgetting her name.
We really need a county commission. It's a regional thing. Now, I will say this, according to the statistics, we do an outstanding job, and not me, but she does, an outstanding job of converting things from the landfill to recyclables, cardboard, metal, used oil, tires.
And our four-county region is based on the 95 counties that are required to participate, is one of the most active 4 counties.
And I think Cannon is actually one of the better of the 4. So we've got something to be proud of. We need a commissioner to volunteer is what we need.
Okay, well, we'll think about that between now and next month's meeting. Who represents the city of Woodbury?
Dottie Duggan.
Dottie Duggan, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Thea. Anything else?
You're welcome.
Put that on next month's agenda, Mike.
It's not too late because on the annual report for 2013, I think I could still put Bob's name, but
Okay.
we need to.
Make sure that gets on next month's agenda. If any of you want to volunteer, contact Mike's office.
And if 2 of you do, we'll get both of you put on it.
Yeah, that's right. We won't have a vote on it. We'll let both of you serve. All right. Next, Tim Bell is here. He wants to give us a report it's from the rescue squad?
Homeland Security.
Oh, Homeland Security, okay.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I'll try to be brief in my comments here. I presented a report to you guys back in August of last year. At that time, it spoke unfavorably of the Office of Emergency Management. We've had 2 meetings since then, one in October. The hospital was kind of in a need to get their year-end disaster drill done. So we helped them and we facilitated a countywide disaster drill. That happened in December. Since then, we've met again in January. I was elected chairman. Chief Underhill was elected vice chairman, and then we had a little issue with the secretary that we'll elect at our next meeting in April. So for 2014, we've formed a disaster drill committee that the county will be working in conjunction with the hospital. They are required to have one for joint commissions. We are required to have one as well, so we think that will work out good. Out of that meeting, the board did vote to ask you to add Emily Elrod to the committee. She's the nurse manager for the emergency department at the hospital. They were trying to have a committee at the hospital, and we were trying to have a committee, so we thought it'd be more efficient if the hospital joins the county Homeland Security Committee, and we could work together instead of having to have 2 different type meetings. So I'm asking you if you will consider that today.
What's her name?
Emily Elrod.
That'll give us 16 members on the committee.
She's a RN.
She's the nurse manager at the ER.
Yeah, I know Miss
All right. Would y'all be willing to consider putting her on emergency management?
I'll make
Homeland Security.
Homeland Security, excuse me.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, we would that other too.
I'll second.
All right, Chuck Holt seconded to put Emily Elrod on the Homeland Security Committee. Voice vote?
Voice.
All right, all in favor, let me know, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, and that's a really good idea, instead of having 2 committees, get somebody from each entity, the hospital and these others, and put them on one committee so they can be efficient.
Yeah, it just makes more efficiency that way. I've had a couple of difficult conversations with people on the committee. And the thing about having difficult conversations is you only have to have them once. I think that we have got a new idea about how we're going to meet and whatnot. And if folks just can't meet, that's fine. We'll ask them. I'll make another report to you in a couple of months if they are not showing up to the meetings, and then we'll go from there. One item of business that we have been addressing or been working on since April of last year is the ID badge station. Currently, we have a piece of equipment there. We've been talking about it for 9 months. By our next meeting, it will be a year. Chief Underhill sitting behind me. He can attest to the need for this for the firefighters as they go into a fire. They have a badge with them that they can leave with whoever's running that truck so that they know who is in there fighting the fire. I went to Walmart, and you can make these things for about $2 a piece. I did talk with the sheriff. He has a machine. It's not as fancy, but it will get the job done. He is willing to help the county emergency responders, and if I say something wrong, you correct me here. With that, it'll be about $2 a piece per person. So we're looking in the neighborhood of $400 to $500 that we would need to fund back to the sheriff's department. I've already got the Excel spreadsheets made. I just can't get any help from where the machine is located from. Regardless of whose machine we use, we got a machine we can't use. The sheriff's department's got a machine we can use. It's going to cost about $2 a piece, regardless, plus or minus. The County Homeland Security doesn't have any money. It has a big zero balance. So I'm asking y'all to put some money in there for 2 reasons. One is there's no money to advertise for the committee meetings. I don't know where that money's been coming out of. I was told them to send a bill for details. And 2 is we'd like to get all the county responders to have ID badges made. So I'd like to ask y'all to put $1,000 into that line item that's already there so that we can get these badges made. Now, if you have to go through budget committee,
It needs a resolution for next meeting.
that's fine. If y'all will take care of that next meeting, we appreciate it.
1,000. Mike, you
At
got
least
that?
$1,000.
Okay.
What is the line item now?
I had some talks with the lady that wrote our hazard mitigation plan. It's all but approved. It's been through TEMA and FEMA, and it's about 900 pages. I encourage you to read it if you want to do that. During my last conversation with her was those grants are not available yet. They will be opening up soon. There is no line item in the budget for that. So what I'm asking y'all to do, and you can do it next month, is to put a placeholder. So you're going to put hazard mitigation grant with a zero balance. Okay, it just needs to go. If we get funded, that money needs to funnel to a specific line item. It doesn't need to funnel to the county general. It doesn't need to funnel to Homeland Security or Emergency Management or anybody else. It needs to funnel into its own line item. So it's called a placeholder. So if y'all will add a placeholder to the budget for hazard mitigation grant program with a zero balance.
Did you write that down, Mike?
We can do it without, but y'all got to appropriate at least $1.
Yeah.
$1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there has to be an amount of money. Diane can do that without commission approval. We can add a line, but we can't put a zero.
Okay.
So if y'all vote today to put $1 in there, we can do that Monday.
You make a motion to make a hazard mitigation grant.
I'll make the motion if you promise not to spend it all in one place.
I won't spend it unless
I know that sounds silly, but that's what the auditors tell us. We can put a line in there, but we have to have some money to put in it.
Give Mike $1.
I got it.
How many?
Somebody.
All right.
What did we see we had between last year and this year or more?
It's about 30,000
30,000.
already.
Now, I think the purpose of what Tim's asking for that is for money that comes in through that hazard mitigation, we'll have a specific line for it.
It's got a place to go.
And it'll be easier when budget.
You don't want it going in somebody else's budget.
It don't get
number
stirred
one.
up in the whole pot.
Rather than go to county general.
And it'll be easier on the budget committee. They'll know more
That's
what
right.
they're doing.
So you're needing a motion to do this, right?
Make a motion to put $1 in there.
Create the line and add $1.
That's right.
Appropriate it all.
Do we already have the motion?
No.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Chuck Holt makes a motion to put a line item in the budget.
Jimmy done made the motion. Chuck,
Did you?
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I second.
He said he's gonna give $1.
I said I would if he wouldn't spend it, didn't I?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
All right. All in favor of making this line item with $1, let me know I'm saying aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
And that's called hazard mitigation grant
We-
program.
I've got that written down, and Mike, you ought to have the same thing written down.
Tim, I want a copy of that.
And so, that's about it. If we continue to work through this program, I believe we're on the right path now.
I think it's like.
We've got some folks that are still a little bit resistant, but that will take care of itself. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you being
Number
here.
5.
What was he wanting
And
to
I
put?
appreciate this committee's work, too.
What was he wanting to put the $1,000 in?
All right. Was there anything else that y'all asked me to put on?
Mark, the $1,000, where was he wanting to put that in? No.
For the IDB badge station.
The badge
ID badge station should be under whose budget?
That'd be under Homeland.
It'd be Homeland Security.
Homeland Security.
But you said bring that up next month.
Yeah, we're gonna bring that up next month.
And what we need to do.
That's what we're trying to find and see.
We're gonna look at it next month. But between now and next month, you know, be thinking about that.
Before you adjourn, I encourage.
I'm not gonna adjourn yet, no.
Okay,
Go
I just
ahead.
encourage everybody to come Tuesday night, for that thing with the sheriff, and, they got a lot of information that we learned a lot. I learned a lot. I know Mark did too, that we went with there. And I encourage as many commissioners as can.
All right. Now, going back to our budget, our vote earlier on the 16,800, there's two ways we can do that. We can either take it right now out of fund balance, which doesn't have much money in it, or we can take it out, or we can make a little loan and pay it back within 1 year out of the big pile of money that we have in debt service.
Well,
Now, which of those choices?
I've got a question though before we do this. Since it's not on the agenda and we're not supposed to vote on money matters under other business, are we legally voting to do this? Or can we, or do we have to call a special meeting
Well, we
just
put
to
it,
vote
we put
on
it
that?
over from the last meeting and told him to bring us there and stuff. It's my oversight that it's not under a line item right here. And that's.
Probably legally, we would have
We're
to say
fine
that we
legally.
tabled that till the next meeting.
And we did.
well,
Basically.
basically we did.
Well, we said bring it up next meeting is what we
Right.
told him.
But
So we ought to have been ready to vote on it.
But it was.
But that was in,
agenda.
We all
that
knew
was
it was
in
gonna-
November, and we said we was gonna do it in December, and it wasn't brought up in December, so.
We talked about it in
We talked
December.
about it in
We
December.
talked about
We sure did, because it's on the meetings. I mean, it's on the minutes.
It's on the minute, right.
And we
Or we could just not do it
All right,
and
now.
tell all them people that just left here a minute
Now,
ago
wait a
that we lied to
minute.
them. If that's what you want to do.
We have the state audit report comes out in 2 weeks, right?
I think, I like my
I don't know. I
recommendation.
can look.
Borrow the
It'll come
money
out.
and put it under.
You gotta, we voted to do the
To
polls.
do the vote.
We have to decide how we're gonna pay for them.
Right.
And we need to do that before we get off on something else.
And there's two ways of doing it.
You can take it out
We
of
got a
the
little
fund
bitty,
balance.
we got a little bitty amount left in fund balance, and we got a lot bigger amount left in the fund balance and in the debt service. Now, which one of those you gonna use?
There's $30,000 more
There's
dollars in fund balance right
$30,000.
now than we thought was gonna be there. So I mean, there is some extra money there.
But we're talking about 10 times that much in the other one.
Sure.
Yeah, we understand that too, but I'd rather it come out of the general fund than I would out of debt service.
It will finally come out of general if you did it that way, wouldn't, no, it wouldn't, it would come out of debt service.
It cost you,
Fund balance, if you don't do it out of debt service.
If you do it out of
It's
debt
all the
service, it
counties-
costs you an extra $500-600 in interest for a year.
It's all
That's
of
what
people's
it costs.
money. It's just which pocket we wanna, which pocket of
Not
people's
here.
money we wanna take it out of.
91 a year.
4%, 16.8, $672.
Now, that's up to y'all.
But see, the thing about it is, in years past, between what our bottom line was and when the state audit comes out, we've always been ahead. As far, you know, we'd always have more money when the state done our audit than what we projected. That's what, you know, that's what I'm looking at.
If we end up with 30,000 more than we thought we were gonna have, we're about 200,000 better than we have been in the
Right.
past, as far as being closer to what we said.
So
If he can get us that
it would be
1% loans, you're looking at
silly
$150 in interest. It's nothing.
Go into debt service.
Yeah,
I'd say two.
at the most.
It'll make it easier on the budget committee to have
He also said it'd be 16.8 or less.
That's right.
16.8
When you're sitting down doing a budget, it is so much easier
fund balance alone.
when it comes out of that
General.
out of that debt service fund
Everybody from county general
than it is trying to keep up with where all that money went out of your general fund. You need to leave that general fund alone
But
once you set the
we have a
budget.
5-cent increase also.
So you think it needs to be
For
under
an
debt
extra
service?
Out of debt service, that's what I
we
think.
put in the general
That-
fund.
Well, that's what my.
But the sheriff's department had a lot of increases for
Ways to
it.
explain
I
is what I
understand that
think.
too. But we're better off to come out of general fund.
I don't think so. I think when you're sitting down doing the budget, you need, the whole year needs to be spent making sure we don't touch that general fund, if we can help it. Because when you sit down and do the budget for next year, it's hard to see where all this money went to. You look at it and you'll say, well, there's $40,000 gone, I don't know where it's at. It takes you 3 weeks to figure out where it all went to, because we're writing checks out of it all the time. The checks need to come, you need to write that one check out of debt service and be done with it. And it not bother your general fund.
I'm gonna address the two commissioners from the 5th district, because y'all are new at this, and then, and I'm not trying to sway you in any way, but the thing about this,
I'll be back.
This is a capital expense for poles. That's something that are gonna be there for a long time. Understand that? The correct place to spend a capital expense from is from your debt service, and not, because county general is you day-to-day, week-to-week, it pays the people's salaries, whether they're at the sheriff's department or the courthouse or the election commission, and all their gasoline. Don't bother their budgets, or even the remainder of their budgets, with a capital expense. Put the capital expense over on the debt service where it rightfully should be.
And if you write a check out of general fund, it won't come out of a line, out of a specific line, so that it's tracked. And you know what I'm saying? It'll just come out of the balance, out of what's left. If you take it out of debt service, it comes out of that debt service line, and it shows where it came from all the time.
That way you have paperwork where you follow paper trail back to it.
That's right. And I was trying to find what the balance is in debt service right now. Where am I at? Right here?
There's two ways to look at it. Debt service fund is for this type of thing, so correctly, it should come out of debt service.
That's right.
Now, it's easier to come out of fund balance because we don't have to contact the comptroller.
And you don't have to go to a bank. You don't have to do all that.
Yeah.
But in
the
March or
correct
April,
place is debt service.
that's right. In April, it's so much easier on the budget committee. It's not easier on Mike, but it's easier on the budget committee in April and May.
Debt service is more trouble for me.
Sure.
But that's where it's supposed to come out.
That's where it's supposed to come from. Now, with that discussion had, does anybody have a motion of where?
One more point about the debt service. There's about $2.2 or $2.4 million in there, and it's all sitting there drawing interest somewhere. So by the time you get it paid off, it'll just about draw that 16 back. See what I mean?
And that money's there, Chuck, to pay for the schools that we built.
It's almost like getting free light poles.
And it's
That's the way.
the majority of the money that goes into debt service is from the $50 wheel tax. That's what the majority of it comes from. Am I not correct?
Yes.
But we put quite a bit in there now, that 4 cents, but you're doing it every year no matter what.
Wheel tax puts 500,000, 4 cents puts
80,000.
Okay. You through discussing? Did you make a motion?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to pay it out of debt service.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
Jim seconded. All right,
Gonna take it out of debt service?
we're gonna take it out of debt service and we're gonna call a roll call vote.
Okay, Kevin made the motion and Jim seconded.
That's right.
Mark Barr,
Yes.
Russell Reed,
Yes.
Jim Neiman,
Yes.
Jim Bush,
Yes.
Kevin George,
Yes.
Tony Neal,
Yes.
Jim Jones,
Yes.
Chuck Holt.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, is there anything else y'all need to bring up on other business? Okay. Go right ahead.
Darrell,
Yes, sir.
would you stand up, bud?
You want to do a mug shot?
I
That
won't
don't
do a
sound
mug
good.
shot.
Blindfolding, boys.
The last time we met, you gave me a receipt on your overtime pay of your deputies when y'all worked that concert up on the mountain,
Yes.
okay? Have you received any payment?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Now, I gave you that bill.
We voted to send.
We need to
Now,
get that.
what has happened since we met the last time?
Nothing that I know of. Have they given your office any money? Do we need to start,
Now,
send them a letter from our attorney?
here's the resolution, August 13th. They said they had decided, now this is Mr. Kaufman, Short Mountain Distillery. They had decided to cut back on the event to $4,500. And by this, it said with off-duty policemen. Okay? There was no off-duty policemen. Darrell Bunch stayed there from Thursday till Sunday. Okay? Now, the kicker of the whole thing is Darrell's deputies and stuff was paid by the county. When the ambulance service went up there with a county vehicle, the employees of that ambulance were paid cash. The distillery paid these people cash for their time. Now, it was our truck, but they paid the individuals cash money. Darrell's people were paid out of taxpayers' funds. Now, there's a problem there.
They need some more cash, don't
Now, if they seem so fit to pay the employees cash money to set up there with a county ambulance,
Yeah.
why did not
Can you
they
do that?
pay the deputies cash?
Is that legal?
Can they pay, well, I guess a distillery, are
Wait,
stills legal? Did you ask me that
No.
question?
No.
No, I asked you, is it legal? Is it legal for them to use a county ambulance
County
for personal,
ambulance,
for a
pay
personal
'em
paycheck?
cash, and with the utilization of our equipment.
Can I start up a security company and use Darrell's
Well,
car?
I mean, now,
There you go.
Can I?
if they
Shouldn't
done
be able to.
this, should we turn around and charge them for the use of our ambulance sitting up there
I
when they
think
could
so.
be making calls?
We need to
I
send
think,
them.
no, you'd have to charge the employee that got paid while he was using it.
Well, who okayed them? Who okayed them to use the ambulance?
The employee that was using it's the one that gained from the use of the equipment.
Was the county paying them as well?
That's a slippery road, let me tell you why. Lions Club Horse Show, there's ambulance sits there with employees, there's policemen there, and they're all paid by county. Anytime you-
I'll buy that. I don't have a problem with that.
Anytime you have an event that brings people to town, it creates commerce, and
Well,
they spend.
I don't have a problem with that. My thing is them paying them cash.
Yes, you know,
I
the
wouldn't,
taxpayers
well,
paid
I
it.
wouldn't
That's
pay
called
the
under the
employees. I
table,
told
isn't it?
Billy he would have to pay them, and we allowed them to use the truck. And then, but it was understood if we had 3 calls, the truck would be pulled immediately. And thank the Lord we did, because they had one.
But if the ambulance employees are not on duty and they're getting paid cash money, what are they doing with our vehicle up
Well,
there?
we let them take the truck.
We.
Ricky did. But if we
So
didn't-
can one of Darrell's deputies take a county car and go out there and work for cash somewhere for security?
I would think so.
Darrell?
I wouldn't think.
Well, how can he do that?
You can't.
Can't do that.
Can't do that.
Wait a minute, let the sheriff talk.
Since we have SROs, they don't do that no more.
SROs attend the game, or I attend the game myself.
What about a big event like the Lions Club Horse Show? How do they do their security? I don't know.
Can your deputy take one of the county cars and go use it for
Let's
business?
go.
My guys will drop by and check.
Let's go back to the first though. Mr. Kaufman was right over yonder in that section, and he stood up and told us that he was gonna make sure that the security.
Exactly.
He made an agreement, in my estimation, with us. We need to send him a bill from your office, Mike, for the overtime.
Did he have no?
He had on-ground security,
Yeah, he had
but
security.
we were called in each night. My department and THP were concerned about the road. We weren't concerned about the event, but if something happened inside, which we wound up with arrest, felony arrest out of the deal. But we didn't go in till we were called. So we did have to go in.
See, they weren't working security. They were
We
just
was
called.
working the main highway.
You were working on the highway.
That doesn't concern me at all. What bothers me is that
Well, we were gonna send an ambulance, and he volunteered to pay the employees, so it wouldn't come out of Ricky's budget, because Ricky's on such a tight budget, so I wasn't about to tell him not to pay.
Well, who ain't? Well, what's the difference between Daryl's then?
Darryl was called there. He was working the road. Darryl wasn't working security. He
Yeah.
did his security.
We didn't work the gates. We didn't work.
did he pay the employees, or did he run it through? He didn't run it through the county though. See, that makes them working for themselves when he pays them like that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Let me ask the sheriff. Let me ask the sheriff a question. Were you here the day that Mr. Kaufman?
Yes, it was.
All right. In your estimation, does he owe the county some money for what the sheriff's department did for him? In your estimation, did he do what he said he would do?
Billy said to me on the Saturday night up there that they were so sorry for not involving my agency instead of hiring their own security. They let the promoters do that, but they said if it happens again, they would give my department, since if anything happens in there, we go in, we take over. Once we come on that ground, it's ours. And they know that, but he said any other event they have from this point forward, that my department, off-duty officers, gets first shot at working security there. And if they need any additional, they will hire more. But he said that was a mistake on their part, they didn't do it up front. They got everybody else, but they didn't get the sheriff's department to do it up front.
Do you feel like he owes your department money for overtime?
I really wish half of it would come back to us, because I put a lot of officers up there at taxpayers' expense. Nobody knows what was gonna happen, and I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Do you as a commission think we ought to send Mr. Kaufman and the distillery a bill or not?
If the ambulance service sends an ambulance to my house because they've been called, I get a bill for it.
That's ambulance service.
But Darryl,
And they're
you're saying
billing you
that,
through the insurance.
When y'all went there, you were called.
Well, we went on the ground and was called.
But you said you also sent deputies up there, because you better be safe than sorry.
I had deputies on the road. That was our main concern.
Yeah.
Traffic. That was THP's concern. We talked about this for months before it ever happened, and nobody give us anything right till the day it took place.
And they didn't ask y'all to be there or anything.
Oh, they first wanted us there so they were gonna shuttle people in from the horse riding that Eddie rented. Different places, they were gonna shuttle in from DeKalb County, from town here, and they wanted us there to work the roads. Yes, we were expected to be there.
He asked you to be there.
But we took it on our own to be there too, along with THP.
Does anybody know how much money they brought in?
I ain't got a clue.
That'd be interesting.
Darryl?
See if the tax money wiped out the cost.
Y'all,
Sure they did.
y'all pretty much provide the same service up there you provide the school.
The basic of this is, what come out of Daryl's budget was $3,600 to make sure that Short Mountain was safe while this was going on.
Well,
Taxpayers' money.
but then you get into, those people are taxpayers too, Jim.
Excuse me?
They're taxpayers too. Then you
I
get
grant you
into,
that.
then you get into, are you gonna charge Cumberland over here a certain amount every year for making sure that there's a policeman if they need one?
Well, you know, you can always have an entertainment tax and tack that on to their ticket sales to help offset.
That's a different discussion.
Okay.
You know,
This is
one
getting
way or
bogged down.
another.
Y'all need to make your mind up, gonna do anything or not.
I'm not interested in it.
Okay.
I think no.
Tony, you got anything else for all other business?
Yeah, I do. Tim took care of my 2 things I had, but I got one more. I had a lady call me wanting to get a bridge name. It's in Russell's and Mark's district down there. It's the bridge next to Russell's Market. And
No,
she's
sir.
wanting, says,
No, it's not, Tony.
oh, it's not? Well, she said it was. I didn't.
County line.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 bridges from the county line past my store.
Okay, well, that's just what she told me. But she was wanting it named in honor of T.E. Tippert.
I'd like to talk to Mr. Tilford first.
We're gonna talk to Mr. Tilford.
Okay. Is she here? Yeah.
She was just a minute
You
ago.
wanna-
Oh, there she is. We're gonna talk to Mr. Tilford. Okay.
I think he might not want it.
The way Tom is, I'd say Tom would not want it.
Okay.
I can't say that till I.
Excuse me,
Wait a minute, you got,
Tom asked me last Sunday, would y'all care to do that?
Mr. Tom did.
Yes,
Still won't talk to Mr.
Well,
Tilford.
Russell can just walk right over and talk to him, and then we'll address that in our next meeting. And anybody from the road still here?
Ed's here. Tag, you're it.
Well, Mike,
I hope that's not too much, Mark.
well, usually in January, we approve the county road map, but I think that Gail has been sick, was what I heard. She's been sick, and they didn't have the final for us to approve, so we can just do that next month. That's nothing that's pressing. Anything else? Thea?
somebody's got
Well,
something.
I'll give you just a minute. Thea, what do you want?
Oh,
I wasn't at the last meeting, so maybe you've already taken care of this, but if it's appropriate, Rita is leading the library. She's done an outstanding job in overseeing that expansion.
I didn't see you back there.
Made a lot of changes. I didn't know if you wanted to, on behalf of the county commissioners, send her anything, any acknowledgement of the work that she's done.
Rita Allen?
Well, who's gonna do that now?
I don't know.
That's terrible.
Well, you're gonna find out eventually, I guess, that someone else needs that job. It's requiring a master's degree, and she had another opportunity just a few miles from home in Shelbyville.
That'd cost some money there, because there's nobody else
Should've
would
raised
do
your
that.
salary when she asked for it back in July.
We have a reception for her next Thursday, 12 to 2, North Church,
All right.
Friday to 10.
Yeah,
Be hard
that's
to
what
find
I was
someone to do
gonna
it
say
for that
too.
money.
She'll be leaving the
You
end of
do
the
it.
month.
All right.
And the
Or said
reception's
he'd be
Thursday,
interested in it.
Thursday afternoon, right, on the
Yeah.
23rd.
Beginning at 12.
She's done a good job. Y'all wanna, well, just a minute, let's address this. Do you wanna have them type up something, a thank you, at least a letter of thanks from the county?
yeah.
Okay?
I guess I'll tell Mike.
Hey, I'll tell
You
you,
tell Diane, she's the one that does type of letters.
I'll tell you who'd be good for that job.
Who's that?
Randall Reed would be good for that job.
Randall
Doesn't
Reed?
cost that much when I get a bucket.
Yes, sir, Randall Reed, you can write the best letters. I've received some of them. Go, who was it over there needed it? Okay.
All right.
Wait just a minute, I'm not through with Tony. He had about 3 things he wanted on the other business.
Tim addressed 2 of them when he was up there.
Okay,
so.
okay, I understand now. Now, go ahead, Jim.
All right, remember the last meeting we had, Tulio addressed us about the Midway Volunteer Fire Department roof, which was $26.59, right? And he would want to know where the county stood the buildings for the fire department.
we never have decided what we're gonna do, but.
Where's it at? There ought to be something, is there money in the building fund?
Yeah, there's.
But the building fund money was not ever, hadn't been used yet on fire department buildings, that I know of. It's just maintenance on,
The community.
just like right up there.
The community chipped together and built the one at Westside.
Is there not a line item in the fire department budget for building maintenance?
Well, we could put one now. I'm
We
not saying
can
we
put
couldn't.
one, but there's not one now.
But
Are
we
these,
haven't yet.
It's
are
county
these
building.
not county buildings?
It's
Yeah,
county building.
well, it's a,
Does the county own
technically
the
it
property
is,
and everything
but
that
it's
they're
just
sitting
so
on?
like the school building, so we don't take their repairs out of the county general budget, building budget. We take, it comes out of the school budget.
Are they county buildings?
They're county buildings.
That's what I thought.
The county didn't fund them.
The county owns
County
them.
didn't build them.
It's just like a school building.
That's right, and it
They're
don't
built and turned over to the county, or like we built and turned them over to the school board.
Has that bill been paid?
That's right. That's why we make it donation.
That's the same way the buildings got built, sort of.
So,
Right?
So the property and everything that every one of those fire halls are sitting on belongs to the county?
Well, yes. The school.
The building belongs to the county.
The school buildings are sitting on property that the county owns, but the repair of the school buildings doesn't come out of the county general fund, though it comes out of the school board. What I'm saying is that
but you can put-
It's people.
it ought to be out of the fire board.
Taxes and pays.
Ought to be out of the fire board.
It ought to be out of the fire department.
Well, then the election commission ought to pay to fix the doors over on the old hospital then.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, it's like the school. I'm saying
It's the same thing.
Or
We
like
give you $77,000 this year
We,
for the fire
departments.
department, right, but we
Right.
don't have a building maintenance.
No,
So-
that's still on the fire department.
So we can take it out of our,
It's a
truck
difference.
maintenance.
Take one line item, put them in the other.
I
So
know.
we're starting line up.
I'll try to get you some more ice cream.
Here's my, we don't have, I mean, when we come up and y'all vote on our budget, and when it comes time to approve the budget, we're not like the sheriff's department, ambulance service, and the school board, though. Ours is thrown in the middle of the county general fund. That's the way you vote on our budget. So, what I'm asking then, so this bill's not gonna get paid by the county, right?
I don't
They're
know.
out there
Now,
money.
you asked me something I don't know.
Y'all said last meeting, bring us that bill, and we will look in the line item.
And y'all already paid. Did Midway already pay it?
Yes, sir.
Well, what difference if they've already paid it?
What did they expect us to pay it when they?
No,
Well,
but
why,
they had
why
a,
did you even ask, why did you
Here-
even entertain that?
here's
They
my-
just tell them to bring the bill here.
you asked me to bring that bill, because you were going to look in the line item, see if the money was there to pay the bill, and
there's money
County buildings, I went down to zero last year practically.
Yeah, because we spent it on all the doors over here at the old
Yeah,
hospital.
that's right.
Over here.
But we need to fix the doors over, we can fix the doors over there, but you can't
I'm
put a
not
roof on.
saying what we need to do, I'm saying where does it need to come from? And we need to sort of set a policy, if a
Let's
roof,
put them a building line in there and fund it.
if a roof needs fixing, who authorizes it to be fixed? It ought to come to us.
we don't fix them, because we ain't got the money to fix
It ought to come
them.
to us before the work is done, is what I'm saying.
Right now, they're going out and getting buckets.
Instead of going out and telling somebody, you fix this, and then we're gonna bring them the bill, it ought to come to us first.
Well, all right.
And then, you know, just like the polls.
Must be
Yeah,
approved
just
by the
like
commission.
Wait.
We didn't have three
When did they
bids
fix-
on the poles. This was an
When did they
emergency
fix the
thing
roof?
about the poles.
When did they fix the roof?
I don't know.
But there's
Back
December
September,
the
October.
2nd is what the date is.
Is that when they fixed the roof? Did you come to us in November about the roof?
December.
December.
So they had the roof fixed before
They
you
just
came
got
to
it fixed.
Here's the one for 1120. All I'm asking is, what is the proper, I'm not trying to be a, yeah, there you go. I'm just trying to say, if you're gonna spend $2,600, you need to have some authority to do that first.
Well, they actually, since 1994, when all these apartments were put in, we were told the buildings are yours, you take care of them. But they're county buildings that we have special fundraisers to try to fix our buildings and keep them up. I've got one that's 35 years old this past year. So I know, I mean, the rest of them are 20, what are they, Michael, 20 years old? You know, and, I mean, you got these buildings sitting here that are county, that the community
That the
built, that were
community's
turned
built.
over to the county, so that became county property. But
But it's up to the fire departments to raise the money to try to keep the buildings up and buy the equipment we need and take care of the other stuff that y'all won't fund us enough money to do.
And y'all also.
Now, how do you, so I'm gonna tell you how I feel, and y'all do what you wanna do, but when it comes to my building or the safety of my guys, they'll get turnouts and they'll get stuff they need before that building will get fixed, and it can rot down around the trucks and they can freeze. Cause I'll take care of them guys first. And if y'all don't care, that's fine with me, but I just need to know where I stand too. Cause I got 35 guys out there that trust me to protect their backs, and I've got a building out there and 3 trucks sitting outside, I gotta build another one. But if you're not gonna keep the upkeep on the $20,000 building I'm fixing to build, I'm not gonna build it. They'll sit outside.
I'm just asking, where should this come from and what should
Nobody
be
else in this county has a county building that y'all don't help take care of but us.
What should be the way to do it?
You tell me, you sit on this commission and you take care of this funding every year for the last 20 years. You've sat here on the budget committee.
Y'all haven't
Come out of the building fund.
It's just 16, it's not.
Should come out of the building fund.
Come out of,
15.
Should come out of the building fund.
You think it ought to come out of county building?
That's what we said last
We
meeting.
need to add more to there this time.
If you run out of money in the building fund and it needs more money in it, then we'll vote then to put more money in it.
All right, let me ask you this question. Should somebody not, from the Midway Fire Department, should not somebody from the Midway Fire Department come and said, hey, we need,
Yes.
Because
that's right.
we were
Yes.
never told that we would ever.
Wait. Yes, but they didn't this time. And from now on, everybody will know that they have to.
Okay.
But
Shouldn't
that
the
does,
same thing on an ambulance going to a party up on the mountain?
it's another issue.
that's another issue
Same
too.
thing, though.
Same thing.
That
It's
is
the same thing.
that is a
And it's just like the
that's a Ricky
same
issue.
thing with the lighting
It's-
at the ball
It's not the
field.
same. Because the ambulance service has its own special revenue fund, and Ricky is responsible for that fund. And if he mismanages his money in that fund, he runs out, it stops. He can come to us if he wants to, but there's no more money allocated for that fund.
But your
This comes straight out of,
It's county property, just like that building's county property.
that's correct. And I ain't saying that I agree with him doing
Let's
that.
stay on one
But
issue
this is
at
a
a
different
time.
issue. He has to, they did it. And maybe they did it out of desperation because they said, we gotta have a roof.
Well, they never even told us
I
that the
agree.
roof was leaking.
I ain't saying they did it right, but we still gotta do something about the money.
Okay, can I make a motion?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we pay this bill out of the building fund, and from now on, any department that needs repair has to come and get a request from us before the repair is made.
And also in that amendment,
Technically, the county executive is the one that'll have to come through, not us. We put the money in there, and then he brings the stuff to us to build, to fix something like that,
Right.
or whatever.
That wasn't your
That's what you
motion,
mean, though, in your motion, right?
Yeah, that we approve it, yeah.
When you say we, are you talking about the commission?
The commission, yeah.
You're not talking about the county executive?
No, talking about us.
That's right. But they do have to come to him first, so they don't. They
Yeah,
don't-
yeah,
don't
they have to
show up
go
at one of
through-
our meetings
yeah,
and say, hey,
yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
Okay.
Right, what was
And
the
I'm not
amendment?
against, hey, we need to pay it, I understand that. But
Sounds like it.
they did not do it the right way.
I agree with that.
I think everybody agrees with that. I think Michael agrees with
So
that.
what was the amendment gonna be?
My whole thing was, we've never, when we've had issues in the past, we've always paid for it out of our own fundraising money. Because we were told we don't take care of it. Why would we come to y'all to start with?
I understand that.
Well, there's not a fire department building that we have right now that that is not in some sort of need of repair.
If it's happened in more times, they
Right.
can fix it.
Every last one of them.
I'll entertain a motion.
and since
I made one.
passed away.
Yeah, oh, yeah, you did.
Have you?
I'll second it.
Second, I'm entertaining a second. Tony made a motion and Kevin seconded to pay this out of county buildings and county general fund.
It needs to come out of the county buildings line. And then if that line
Now-
runs short, we'll fill it back up with a
Budget.
budget amendment.
County, when we're gonna pay out of the county general what?
Fund.
Building,
Under county,
building,
under county buildings.
Building line.
county building.
265948 to Midway Volunteer Fire Department.
How much is in the county building fund?
A little over $10,000 right now. I talked to Diane yesterday.
This is the third and fourth of what's left, and we're just in January.
And we got all this year to go on the county building.
See, we didn't anticipate that when we made that line item. Okay.
But if you don't
It was
take it
that
out of the
brand
right
of budget
place,
amendment.
you can't just
Put
keep,
some back
you can't
in.
write these checks straight out of that balance.
That's right.
They got to be rolled out of the line.
This
We have to move
in
money.
every ag department. in the
We got a
county
motion and a
will-
second on the
will want it,
floor.
will want it.
Y'all ready to vote?
Call the roll.
Call roll.
Call the roll.
Mark Barton.
Yes.
Russell Reed.
Yes.
Jimmy Mingle.
Yes.
Bill Bush.
Yes.
Kevin George.
Yes.
Tony Neal.
Yes.
Jim Jones.
Yes.
Bill Cole.
Yes.
All five, 2 ayes.
My only point was this, Michael, and I'm just going to reiterate this. I wasn't against it, but this is sort of like having a rent house and somebody bringing you a $2,500 bill and saying, hey, I put a new roof on the rent house there, I want you to pay for it. I mean, that's just not.
I'm just glad now we know that we can get some help.
Well, that was fundraising, they had to have fundraising to pay for that roof. Now they have no money in their account to pay anything that might come up.
I understand that.
And that roof was paid for, Watson Metal gave them a big discount on the metal and just free labor and everything.
I totally sympathize with their
Precedence.
situation, I do.
Precedent.
While you're speaking, Michael, is there anything else for the
How'd you
fire
like that?
department?
That needed to be said though.
Y'all hearing that?
Right, that's what I was saying. Every department in the county, every one of the buildings, fire department buildings in the county, they are in need of some type of repair.
School
Every
boards.
last one of them.
Hey, Mark,
Yes.
let me say this.
We'll work it out in the budget.
3 or 4 years ago, I built another 2 bay on my car.
Yeah.
We done it, fundraising money. All
But
we
now
have to
it's,
do is upkeep on it.
it'll have to be addressed.
You have someone who goes out and looks at what needs to be done for the county.
Yeah.
To look at buildings.
Yeah, Darryl Fisher does that kind of stuff.
Call us, if you need to see fire departments, let him check them out.
10.2%.
And be sure y'all's next fire meeting though, that y'all tell all your chiefs before they do anything, that they have to bring a
We'll
request.
have one next Monday night.
Yeah.
The
We'll take an
director
extra
of
30.
schools is going to say something.
Well, I had something else to say, but based on this conversation, I wanted to clarify something. Legally, you are responsible for all school buildings and upkeep of all school buildings. Before 1996, the school system came to the county commission for every roof that needed to be put on a building and every bus that needed to be bought. We had to come to you all. But I assure you, I have never done that. Since I have been in that office, I have tried to be financially stable enough that we can take care of our maintenance issues, and we budget for our building improvements in our budget. And that is why we run a good fund balance, because we have things that happen. We've put an $87,000 roof on Alton School this year. We didn't ask you for that, but in the past, that would have been your responsibility. We have bought an $80,000 bus this year. We try to keep our buses up to date so that we have good buses running our routes. And so that is something else that you all would have had to have purchased, or we would have had to stop buses. So I don't know the deal, if you own the property, you own the fire department, I don't know that, but when the school system gets brought into it, I do want you to know, we're not, when you say the school system's responsible legally, it is the county government, that you're the funding body.
I should have said the school system takes care of it.
But we have taken care of it. And I was standing in the hall, so we will try to take care of our own football poles, field poles, but legally, that's your responsibility. I just wanted you to know that, and if we don't have the money, we will be back to ask you. But that's just to clarify that. What I wanted to say and came prepared to say is I wanted to end on a praise. I wanted to thank you for the money that you allocated for the school resource officers. There have been many situations that we have handled quickly and appropriately, and I just want to thank you for that. The full-time one at the high school, the part-time one that goes to the 6th elementary, we're stretching him thin. And I'm battling for your budget, Sheriff, but I want to thank the Sheriff's Department for choosing the officers. They were a great choice, and I want to thank the County Commission for putting that in the Sheriff's budget. I know it's getting budget time. and I want you to consider leaving that in there and maybe increasing that. You saw what little amount we got for safe schools on the $2,600, and that has allowed us to put more cameras so that we can have more safe areas in our schools. There will be no hidden nooks and crannies unless it's a closet or a restroom possibly in our high school after we do this section with cameras. So just wanted to thank you. I know you don't get thanked a lot, but I know it's budget time and I wanted you to.
How many more, do you think you need one for every grammar school? You just need one more? Would that do it?
We will take everything.
I know.
I think we could increase, and if you had one for 3 elementaries, that would be great. I know those small schools, sometimes they think, how are we going to utilize an SRO, but they're finding out. Mm-hmm. And honestly, an SRO is supposed to teach safety classes. And if we're constantly dealing with legal issues, or controlling issues of parking lots or ball games or whatever, that the SROs don't get to do the teaching part of their job, and I would like to see them get to that point so that our children will be educated and we know we have all the bases covered where it comes to a school resource officer. But yes, if you could see to increase that funding, I would appreciate it. I know the sheriff of the school system definitely would, and I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Industrial Development Board, okay? Anybody else?
Mark.
Yes, sir.
One thing as Morgantown chief on this part. We're having a 5K March the 8th on Hollow Springs Road. I don't, if y'all get any calls about traffic and everything that morning, I apologize. We're going to try to do this as a fundraiser, and it's going to be on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on March the 8th. So I don't know if we need approval for that or what we need. We're not going to block the road. We can do it, but we're not. But we'll have a lot of activity out on that end. So
Activity brings in people to spend money.
Go out there and run 5Ks and come back to Joe's and eat a
Come back down here and thirsty and hungry. All right. Anybody else?
Hey, Mark.
Yeah, just a minute. Ed, go ahead.
I want to personally thank each one of you that voted for me for the road commissioner seat. And I will achieve to do my best and work with these guys and work with you. If you need anything, I'm in the phone book, so feel free to call. And again, I want to thank you.
Yes, sir. Jim Jones, what did you have to say?
We need to address this issue with the courthouse.
That's right. We got a leak right there. We can see it every time we sit here.
It's not getting any better.
We've got 2 or 3 leaks, and obviously the water's infiltrating the wall.
In and outside of that wall. That'll have to come out of county buildings too. But maybe the guys that installed the gutters may have a little bit to do with it. We'll just have to see.
Wouldn't that have not fell under the same grant that you were talking about earlier, for the lighting and stuff like that? Could we not have got this repaired under that same grant?
I think that goes back under that big grant 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah,
whenever
the big grant that did all this stuff around here.
It looks like somebody didn't get something just right.
It had lasted.
Are these gutters not very old?
Well, I mean,
No, they're concrete. Those gutters are concrete is what they are, and concrete gets cracks in it.
But all that was.
Anything else?
hey, look here. We got new trees out of it and stuff, but as far as, leaks, we kind of fell short on that.
Anything else?
Really?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
Second.